Okay. Right, so this is just a very short workshop. It's not going to take too much of your time, I hope, right? So I think we should be done in an hour or so, right? So I came up with this idea to run this workshop because of a very, very special kind of student. Now, I think it's safe to say that we in typical years we boast a relatively reasonable distinction rate. I think approximately 60%. If we're looking at an very average basis, about 60% of our students get an A. The highest we've ever gone in a single year was about 70 to 75% A. Right. So why is there such a range? Because every year there will be a couple of students who don't give us their statistics, so they don't actually respond to us. So we cannot actually calculate what is the total statistics, what is the total A rate. So that's why it's a range, right? So but there will always be one or two students. I expect them to get an A. They have been scoring very, very consistent results. They have been doing pretty well in class, right? And then suddenly when it comes to the exams, they get like mostly A's, and then for econs, when it is the strongest subject, they get a B. I have like one or two of such students every single year, and I just feel I just feel sad for these students because I felt that they work hard, and they have done reasonably well over the whole entire year. And how come is it that they still don't do well, right? So I thought of putting up this lesson to get you guys to kind of understand that actually how difficult it is to get an A at the A levels. Okay, so to basically set your expectations right, adjust them, and put in the correct amount of effort, and know where to look at. Okay, if you want to really get an A for the A levels, what are the things you need to be looking out for? So that is the real reason why I want to hold this class. I want to get everybody to feel okay, that they understand actually exactly what it takes, so that you don't regret a few months down the road, okay, when alright, actually it's 9 months, 8 to 9 months down the road, when you receive a result, then you ask yourself, hey, I worked so hard, how come I didn't get an A? I want you to know it now, so that you can exactly put your efforts. If A is really a grade that you desire, then you know exactly how to look out for that A. Okay, right. So that's just me doing a bit of reflecting when I decided to put this lesson together. So I thought I'll just share this with some of you, right, today. Okay, Friday is not apparently that fantastic timing, because usually when we put up these kind of sessions, we have like 70-80 students coming into live stream. Okay, right. So but never mind. I think I can do a recording of this lesson, and we can still send it to students who missed out on this session, and we'll probably put it up on Instagram, IGTV, if at a later juncture. Okay, so right, the first thing to understand here is that every year, right, you have a large population of students taking the A levels, okay, and a large percentage of the population will be taking economics. And I'm very sure you are familiar with this graph. You should have already done stats in school, okay, and most of you take math, so you should be familiar with this graph, right? I think for A levels as a subject, the normal distribution curve is skewed more positively on the high range of the mark side. Meaning to say that if we look at this blue and green area, basically if we lump them together, that's more like the number of people getting an A. So we actually have more percentage of the population getting an A, right? So like I think in a typical year, actually the number of students getting an A ranges about 20+%. In a very, very typical year, the percentage of students getting an A is about 20+%. So I think it's positively skewed that way, okay, towards the higher range of the marks. And then, so if you look at this normal distribution curve, it tells you that a large number of students will be getting B's and C's. Okay, very, very overwhelming percentage of the population should be getting a B and a C. And that will make sense, right? That will make sense. So you have a bunch of students here getting a B, the bunch of students getting a C. So B and C's are going to be more of your most common grades. So if you don't get an A, you get a B or you get a C, and then you feel disappointed. Wow, I don't know why I'm so lousy. Actually, you're not lousy. No, you're just average. Right? You're just like okay. You're like okay. I'm like everybody else. You're just not super duper outstanding. That's why you got a B, you got a C, but you're not lousy. You're just like everybody else, right? So you put in your effort. If you put in the same amount of effort, right, as everybody, as any average student, right, then you're gonna expect that you're gonna get the outcomes of any average student, right, which is gonna be pretty much a B or a C. So I think you have to adjust your expectations. It's a little bit like okay, if you're an examiner, you're gonna mark a bunch of scripts. Okay, you're grading a bunch of scripts, right? You definitely when you're scoring, you're doing scoring or grading, you have to differentiate between these students, right? You have to find a way to differentiate. You cannot be giving every single student A's, right? So then it bounces down to the quality of the answers that you're receiving. So you will reserve like your top scores to the very top students. So this is not like math. This is not a math subject, math based subject where the answers is objectively the case. Like x equals to 2. Okay, you do the working. When you come up with a beautiful number, then you're like wow, heng the answer sure correct one, right? Then or x equals to 2.5. Wow, so sweet the number, sure correct already. Like then you're supposed to get the number of marks for an objective subject like math. Econs, unfortunately, not that objective. So, right, you have to expect that your examiners, they're gonna grade the papers, and when they're grading the papers, they will reserve the A grade to the very best, and that has to be the case. So if you're writing like everybody else, why would I be giving you an A? I can't possibly be giving every single student an A, right? So have this in mind. If you are giving in efforts that is just like anyone else, and then in the end you got a B, you got a C for A levels, and then you're feeling disappointed, then you have to ask yourself, but what did I do that was above and better than the average student out there? If you can't find that, well, yeah, I have an answer to that, then you cannot have the expectation that yeah, I'm definitely going to get an A1. You have to be above and better than every average student out there. Right, that is how it is. Okay, so and then actually your C, D, E, S, and U, they will form this range of grades. So sorry, not C, B and C is here. Your D, E, S, and U, right, they're going to form the balance of the grade. So not that large percentage of the students will get an A, but not that large percentage of the students will get D, E, S, and U either. Bulk of the students will be getting B's and C's. Well, I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, to think about. Right, so this is the first thing that I will always tell students when when they are doing the revision, and you really have to be outstanding. Okay, so I'm gonna move on because I'm quite sure you're familiar with this already. Then master these 4 things. Okay, what are these 4 things? Right, sorry, the fonts I choose a bit. Right, the font's a bit wow. If you don't like think properly, then you like master 4 things. Right, so master 4 things. Right, I'm trying to keep this lesson simple because like if I go too deeply into various things, then you'll feel like wow, so chuan, like so difficult to get an A like that. So I don't want to discourage you. So I kind of like distilled the very very complex method of getting an A into like four simpler methods, 4 simpler things you can do to get an A, right? Trust me, these 4 things are not that simple after all. It actually quite complicated, right? Sorry, forgot to keep my phone to silent. Let me just turn that off so that we are undisrupted for the rest of the lesson. Okay, let's come back to it. Right, so what are the 4 things that we have to keep a lookout for to get an A for the A level? So I'm sure you want to know. So let's go ahead and start. Right, this one is Captain Obvious. Your conceptual understanding. Conceptual understanding is the very very first layer to it. Okay, when we talk about conceptual understanding, we are not you have to understand what is the meaning of conceptual understanding, because I find that a lot of students have the wrong idea of what conceptual understanding means. So if like your tutor, your lecturer is teaching, then when the tutor or lecturer is teaching, right, then he or she teach, then you're like, wow, yeah, makes sense, huh? Wow, not bad, I can understand. That's not meaning of conceptual understanding. Or you read your lecture notes, then you read, wow, yeah, this one makes sense. That one also not called conceptual understanding. To me, right, conceptual understanding, right, is if you understand already, okay, what's the next step? To show that you really understand, okay? You need to be able to, if I tell you, okay, so can you write this concept, right? You explain to me, right, but in words, your words, 3 paragraphs. 3 paragraphs. Okay, write down for me now. Okay, explain to me the meaning of say shutdown condition. Tell me more about shutdown condition. Write 3 paragraphs about shutdown condition. Explain it to me. Draw a diagram for me. Let me understand what do you know of shutdown condition. So if you really understood shutdown condition, right? And I told you impromptu, go and write it out for me. 3 paragraphs. Okay? Then I check your answers, okay, or you check your own answers against a textbook answer, or rather a not textbook answer, against the lecture notes, and you read side by side. You read the style, might be a little bit different, but the essence, the concentration of whatever theory that you're writing about is more or less there. Then I think, okay, you've gotten it right. But if you find that when you understand the concept, but if I tell you to write it out, I tell you, write it out in 3 paragraphs plus the associated diagrams. You write it out for me, and I'm gonna compare it with a textbook or lecture notes, and it differs so drastically that it cannot possibly be correct. Right, the essence is not there, the concept really is not there. Then I would say that actually you think you understand the concept, but actually you don't. At the very least, you don't understand the concept sufficiently enough in theory to actually bring a kind of a quality to the answers that helps you to score at the examinations. So this is very, very important, because when we say conceptual understanding, you really need to understand, okay, the theory in relation to what you're writing. So conceptual understanding has to be done that way. Okay, so right, so sorry for the lines. Why like that? I also don't know why like that. Okay, maybe let's do that. Okay, right, so my apologies. Now, conceptual understanding, right? Okay, number one, okay, you need to understand every single concept that is tested in your curriculum. Then you say, wow, what is every single concept tested in your curriculum? Don't be lazy. Go to Singapore Examinations and Assessment Board website. Download the curriculum. You know the curriculum code, go and download the curriculum. Print it out. Okay, do a checklist. Okay, and ask yourself, so you do a checklist, every single item. If you ask me to explain it to you now, so you ask a friend, hey, come, friend, come. I'll talk to you. I want to explain this concept to you. Listen to me and tell me am I correct, right? So you see if that makes sense to you. So you should be able to explain these things to your friend. Okay, so if your friend listen to you and say, wow, steady man, you sound like a textbook, okay, then you're fine. That means theoretically you have got the concept there. Okay, or you can just try practice writing it out. Alright, so you can teach a friend the concept. If your friend understands from what you're saying, and your friend understands it in a very technical manner, then you more or less understand the concept. So go and download a copy of the curriculum. Make sure that everything that's tested in your curriculum, you have a checklist to run through that you can confirm that you understand and able to explain them in theory. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, so this is the first thing. So conceptual understanding is the very first thing. It's the building blocks. It's the building blocks. It's the very first thing you need to have before you can do anything else. Alright? So, but actually, you know what? This is not what most students struggle with. Actually, this is what most students who get C's and D's, they're actually quite okay with. Meaning to say, right, you can get 100% of this right and still be getting C's or D's. So, don't be mistaken that I understand every single concept. I'm on my way to get an A already. No, then you're on your way to a D. Wow, damn sian, right? Wow, you understand every single concept. Well, you went through the checklist and then go through everybody. Okay, then I tell you, you're on the way to a D. Wow, that's damn disappointing, right? Right. So It's because it's one quarter of the equation only. So we move on to the next thing that you need to do. Okay, right. So there is exposure and then there is range. Okay, they sound like they're the same thing, but they're not. And you can assure me that they're not the same thing. Now, exposure, I'm talking about quantity. I'm talking about quantity. Quantity meaning I want you to be exposed to as large number of questions as you possibly can. When I say exposed, I mean like not like why you go and buy, like you go kiasuexampapers.com, then you download all the papers, you go and buy, then you download all the papers, then you say, okay, I look through them already, I'm exposed. Rubbish. So or you go and like download from your school learning management system all the past year prelim papers, then you say, okay, I'm exposed. No, got actual work that needs to be done one for you to be considered exposed to it. Now, so I when I say exposure, right, I want you to have attempted a very, very large number of exam questions. Okay, I want you to have attempted a very, very large number of exam questions. When I say range, right, okay, when I say range, right, this one's a bit more tricky. I don't know whether everybody will be able to get this range thing right now. Range meaning to say that you want to look at all kinds of questions. You want to look at questions across all the different topics. Meaning to say, if you know just now the checklist, the conceptual checklist that I was talking about just now, the conceptual checklist I was talking about just now, okay, if I were to tell you, say, hey, every single concept, right, I want you to do a question or try out a question relating to one concept. So every single concept you must have experienced it in the form of an essay or in the form of case study. Okay, so you need to go and experience different types of concepts being tested in different essays and case study questions. Right, that is where you get range. That is one. Range can be in terms of concepts. Range can be in terms of difficulty levels. Right, difficulty level. The top schools in Singapore like to come up with very, very difficult papers sometimes, right? The like promo papers and the mid-year exam papers for like schools like RI and Hwa Chong are very good to do because their papers are quite difficult and tough. So if you can do their papers, the mid-years and the prelims, they usually tend to be very difficult. Sometimes they make their prelims quite easy. I think it's because I don't know why is it easy. It's maybe because they don't want to scare the students off too much. They want to give them a reasonable understanding of what the difficulty will be really like at the A level. So prelims usually not too tough, but the mid-years and the promo exams usually super duper tough. But you also don't want to overkill yourself, like every single paper you do is so tough. You also want to be doing at least, if you ask me lah, I would want you to do the whole damn bloody TYS. But I don't know whether it will be overkill for you. I don't know whether it will be overkill for you. In my time as an A-level student doing econs, right, I did my TYS 3 times. Like, so I'm not kidding. My A-level econs, my TYS, I completed it 3 times. Right, I completed it 3 times. Right, how ridiculous I was. Okay, in my time, of course, we had it easier than you guys. Our econs paper got MCQ. Right, 20%. The score is 20%. Got 30 questions, and then it takes up 20% of the total grade. Right. I finished, so 1 hour, right? I finished my MCQ paper in the actual A-level exam. I finished my MCQ paper in 30 minutes. Alright? And our school teachers were damn hardworking. They posted the answers at the back of the exam hall. So the moment you walk out, you can check your answers, see correct wrong. Alright? And then I checked my answers against the school teachers' answers. I found that I got full marks. Okay? How come I can get full marks? Because it's MCQ. How come MCQ can get full marks? Because practice. Right? But the same thing goes for your essays and for your case studies. The more you do, the more experience you become, and the more comfortable you're gonna get. Anyway, let's come back to exposure and range. What is exposure and range all about? Okay, exposure and range is gonna help you with this. I'll just tell you first. There are 2 kinds of the questions that can come out for the A levels. 2 kinds. Okay, 2 kinds. First kind, typical questions. Okay, typical question is you read already, like, okay, yeah, it's phrased differently, but I'm sure I've seen the question before. So like, yeah, I think I can. Wow, you get them excited because you know you can. So you're like, I've done this question before, but it's just not phrased in the same way, but it's the same thing. They're testing me on the same thing. So the more questions you do, right, and the examiners, they tend to sprinkle the like at least 60 to 70% of the paper. That means a large majority of the paper will be sprinkled with questions they know you can do one. That means if you were diligent, you did your work, you did your revision, you need exercise a bit of critical thinking because the questions is phrased somewhat differently from what you're used to, but the concepts tested more or less quite there one. With exposure and range, you will be able to recognize the kind of questions that are considered to be typical. And the moment you see it, you're like, okay, I've done this before. Let's rearrange what I've done before. I've done this before. It's testing of this concept. These are the examples I can use. Very quickly, you can deal with these typical questions. Your exposure and range will help you deal with these difficult questions. Exposure and range, unfortunately, they don't help you to deal with this kind of questions called curveball questions. I will tell you that for essays, 1 to 2 curveball questions every year. What are curveball questions? Curveball questions are they outright you read you know cannot do, or that this one's still okay because you know you cannot do, you avoid at all costs if it's in the essay component, right? The worst kind is you read already, you think wow can do but actually cannot do one. But you don't even know. You finish paper, you still don't know. You get your A-level grade back, maybe you realize. You get A-level grade and then you get the shock of your life. Maybe then you realize. Okay? Right. I find that is something that is very important for you to know. Curveball questions, even if you have exposure and range, you go and do these curveball questions at the A-levels, you may not actually be able to do them. If you're wondering what examples, if you have a copy of the TYS now, you can take it out. I can tell you what these curveball questions are. You got a copy, you want to take it out now? Why don't you take out a copy of the TYS now? I'll tell you what these curveball questions are. Okay, take it out. Now, if you have one now, go and pick it up. I'm going to give you a minute break so you can go and take out a copy of the 10-year series if you have one. Then I'll tell you what these curveball questions are. Right, if you're looking at 10-year series, we start with 2019. We look at the essay papers. In 2019, the curveball questions is question 2 and question 6. Okay? Right, sorry, it's just actually question 2. The curveball question it's not question 6, question 2. And the curveball question for the case study for 2019 is the second case study, question F, the question on deglobalization. That is the curveball question for the year, right? So, curveball, deglobalization, that was in the second case study, the last question, question F, okay? Curveball question for the essay will be question 2, okay? Question 2 of the essay paper component. If we look at 2018, okay, what's the curveball question? The curveball question for, let me see, there's a curveball question for the case study. Okay, I think case study quite okay. Okay, right. Yeah, I think the questions were quite okay for the case studies. For the essay, right, the curveball question was the Ed Sheeran one. Okay, the Ed Sheeran question. We did that in one of the previous masterclass. Question 1 of your 2018 essay paper is a curveball question. Okay, 2018 question 1 of your essay paper is your curveball question. Let's look at 2017. Okay, 2017, I felt that like the first case study on food self-sufficiency part E is quite a curveball question because it feels not like a econs question, it feels like a GP question. Discuss the ways in which Japan might raise its self-sufficiency in food. Walao, how to be econs this one? Sounds totally like a GP question, right? And consider whether this aim is achievable for Japan. Okay, so that's quite curveball in my opinion for case study. And what's the curveball question for the essay component? Alright, I think question 1 again here was a curveball question. Right, so you can see just by looking at the last 3 years papers, we can find curveball questions in every year's paper. So these curveball questions is like, I think no matter how hard you prepare, you find that you cannot prepare yourself for this kind of questions one. They are like out of the blue and really unexpected. Okay, we managed to predict one of those curveball questions for last year paper, which is the question on deglobalization for the case study. But I think that was out of really good luck as opposed to anything else. We can really not quite prepare for the curveball questions, right? But at the very least, if you have exposure and range, you can help to deal with the typical questions. How do you get exposure and range? Okay, I hope this doesn't scare you. Okay, from now until the A-levels, I think you have about 20 to 21 weeks. It is currently 20 to 21 weeks to the A-levels. You are supposed to attempt 50 full essays from now till the A-levels. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. You have to attempt 50 full essays. And if you say, wow, I want an A. Okay, I'm sorry. If you did this, you are reaching a B or a C. Isn't that scary? Right, if you did this, you are reaching a B or C as a safety net. If you did all of these things on this slide here, you reach a B or a C. You will not get an A yet. Okay, and then on top of that, if on top of this 50, I will say at the very minimum, there are people who are very lazy one. Like, you know, no matter how you tell them 50 is just not possible for them. Then this alternative is 100 essay outlines. If you're like, okay, I'm gonna just try for B or C, then you can go for 100 essay outlines. Okay, so if not, then if you are hardworking, then 50 full essays and 50 essay outlines, making a total of 100. Okay, and then I would prefer that you attempt all of the case studies in the 10-year series, because even you attempt all the case studies in the 10-year series, right, you will have done a grand total of 20 case studies only, which isn't a lot, frankly speaking. I think it's actually a very, very achievable aim. So if you want to get exposure and range, please do this 50 essays and 20 case studies by from now all the way until the end of the year. Okay. Now, third, right? So the third thing, of course, is skills. Right? You have exposure and range. You have conceptual understanding. You still need to actually have the necessary skills to do well for your A-levels. All right. Okay. What are the necessary skills? Okay. Actually, the first very important thing. How many of you are H1 students over here? Any H1 students? Any H1? Anybody else H1? I can't see all those with cameras who are off. Who have cameras turned off. But okay, so if you are H1 student, and then first thing first, if you think you don't need to write essays, you're so wrong. So I'll always tell my H1 students, the first major conceptual misunderstanding is that, okay, first major misunderstanding is that, oh, I'm a H1 student, I'm only tested on case study, I don't need to learn how to write essays. Wrong. Your 10 mark, 12 mark questions, essentially they are mini essays. You need to possess good essay writing skills. Essay writing, I'm just going through like a bunch of things, right? I cannot go through a crash course in essay writing in a short lesson today. That's not possible. It's not possible for me to do that review today. I'll just tell you what you need to actually be learning. Okay, number one, okay, essay writing, the first thing you need to do is to do question analysis, dissection, and requirements. And that basically is what happens in the first 2 minutes in your head. The moment like you see the exam paper, the first 2 minutes of staring at that question, the essay question, the first 2 minutes, all the brain neurons firing off, the first thing that needs to happen is actually doing a question analysis, dissection, and requirements. These three things all different. These three things are different. Analysis, dissection, and requirements are all different. Analysis is you are trying to ask, hey, what's this question really about? What is the spirit of this question? Okay, which means you're really trying to figure out, right, what are the concepts that are being tested, what theories that they're testing you on. That is a part of your question analysis. And then whether is it a discussion question or what exactly is it. Dissection means you want to know how many parts are there to this question. Can I break this down? Can I break this question to more manageable parts? If it's 25 marks, cannot be like one thing I need to deal with. There must be multiple things that I need to deal with. Is there a way for me to break down this question into parts that feels more breathable, I can manage it better. And then requirements, okay, what are the things that if I miss out, wow, confirm I fail already. That means I need to make sure that I deal with what the question has asked me to do. Alright, so analysis, dissection, and requirements is the first 2 minutes that's going to happen. And then you identify the concepts that are tested. What is this topic about? What is this question? This question is which topic? What theories that I confirm need to draw in? Do I bring in an ADAS analysis here? Do I explain how information failure takes place and bring in a diagram? Do I explain a DDSS thing where I show a simultaneous shift and I show the area under the diagram? Or do I show when how does the profits change? If I'm a H2 student, how does the profits change as a result of these events that are taking place here? What are the theories that I'll need to bring in to answer this question? Okay, and then if you're before you move on to even writing the body paragraph, you need to know, okay, in my body paragraphs, how many paragraphs do I want to be writing? How many major points? How many marks is this question? 10 marks. 10 marks, 3 major points. 15 marks, 3 to 4 major points with substantiation. And then introductions, everybody, like, they take introductions very lightly, like, oh, it's a joke. Like, actually got such thing, man, need to write proper introduction, man. You'll get very shocked when if you actually sit for one of our booster lessons, you'll be very shocked how introductions can affect your answers. And what goes in the paragraph, that whether you actually know that there's a framework for dealing with paragraphs. What are the things? Okay, I call it the 4 E's framework. I taught this in March, and in this end of the June period, we will go through this again, this 4 E's framework again. But what is 4 E's framework? Explain, elaborate, examples, and evaluate. Every single major point that you want to write, it has to encompass these 4 E's. Are you just making a statement, or are you actually bringing an economic argument which requires these 4 E's to be present? And then of course, everybody also, I think introduction and conclusion quite similar. A lot of people don't know how to write conclusions. What goes in a conclusion? And evaluation. Okay, so essay writing actually quite complicated. Okay, if you think that it's just wow, you feel like it, the flow comes, you just write. While you feel like inspiration come, then you feel connected with the pen, then you can write. That this is unfortunately not like I don't know, it's not English essay. This is an econs essay. You need to plan. Okay, you really have to plan. Okay, case studies. In our classes, we actually teach you the date framework. Alright. Again, we will cover this in one of our lessons in end June again. Trends question. Right. Trends question is you look at the graph. They ask you explain the trend, discuss the trend, give evidence for why the trend behaves in this way. These are your trends question. Your first 1 mark, 2 mark question, they are usually a trends question. These are like giveaway. They are always there, and you must score for them. Then applying data to theory. A large part of these case studies, what are they all about? They are actually doing this. They want to test you on something, but they want you to use this data to prove that, okay, this something makes sense. Okay, so they want to test you on the concept that you have learned in econs, but they want you to use the data to see that, okay, so this concept, does the data prove that this concept is right? If yes, show me how. If the data proves that this concept is wrong, then what else could explain the discrepancy, right? And then higher order questions, it actually requires essay writing skills. So if you always feel like 10 mark, 12 mark, you fail, okay, then the hint here, you don't know how to write essays. Okay, the 10 mark, 12 mark questions, you are supposed to approach them in a way almost similar to an essay. Okay, so if you don't have the skills, then you feel like, hey, I understand my things very well. I did a lot of essay, I did a lot of case study. How come I still not getting an A? This could be one thing that's missing. You don't actually have the writing skills. So linguistically, you might be quite poor, and in terms of your practice, you're not like getting the kind of right practice, and no one to guide you on the way you write. How come the writing is wrong? And writing is something damn difficult to pinpoint, which if you have been participating in our weekly tutorials, you know, the ones that you submit and then we grade for you, at least there is one thing that helps. Okay, with feedback and review, you will improve over time. Right, so skills very important. Okay, so we move on. Last thing is evaluations, and frankly speaking, evaluations are really the ones that set an A student from a B student. If you got the first 3 things right and you got your evaluations wrong, you won't get an A. It's very, very hard for someone with very poor evaluations to write an A. And yet, if you come to me during a lesson and then you ask me for standard evaluation, and I get very frustrated with you during the lesson because you will ask this question. So like, we're going through a case study, 10 marks. Then you ask me, hey Mr. Toh, what's the evaluation for this question? I will always feel like I want to slap the student that asked this question. I want to slap the student for asking this question, because it shows that you don't understand what's the meaning of evaluation. Evaluation, if I told you the evaluation, it wouldn't be your evaluation, it would be my evaluation. Evaluation is like, you wrote an answer, okay? How well did the answer explain something? After you finish an whole answer about, maybe you're talking about policy, okay? Your evaluation is linked to the answer that you wrote. It's very intimate to you, because it's something that only you are able to write. Because if you wrote something, you wrote this whole bunch of things already, then after that you have an opinion, and you are able to back up your opinion, okay, with some piece of evidence that can form part of your evaluation. I cannot write an evaluation for you, okay? I can write an evaluation for my own answer. Means if this is the way I think, this is how I'm going to evaluate my answer. Meaning to say that by right, most of evaluations, the good evaluations, they are never going to sound the same. If you get two different students, right, to write an answer to an essay, right, they might be writing the same essay. Both of them will come up with evaluations that are very, very different, and they can still score very high marks for the evaluations. The evaluations are not about standard points to write. It's not like standard evaluations to write. Although it's a good place to start off with. If you have no clue how to write evaluation, is a very, very damn good place to start off with, which is reading how other students write their evaluations, the good ones, the ones who score very well, how they write their evaluations. You can get a sensing there, but it's not really about copying them, but to understand how they come up with their evaluation. The good evaluations are non-standard. They are not things you will find in a textbook. Okay, if you can find out these things in a textbook, they're probably quite far from what is considered to be a good evaluation. Okay, evaluation is about critical thinking skills. Is actually something that I think we are doing right in terms of the education system. I think we are doing right because we want to move away from standard answers. We want it to show that, hey, I have thought through the message. I've thought through the points that I've made. So like if we were asking you, hey, this COVID-19 crisis, what can the Singapore government do to try to deal with the economic repercussions? Then you say, okay, I think we should end all lockdown measures immediately right from this point, and accept that there are going to be health consequences, because the health consequences we can manage because we have the capacity to manage these health consequences. Let's restore the economy, let's bring it back. This would be your opinion. This is not like a standard opinion, right? Like some people will scold you and say, hey, how can you talk this nonsense? Health is more important, lives are more important. This is your opinion, ma. You have the right to express this opinion, but you got to justify it. You got to give me evidence. But that would actually form a bloody good evaluation. I would like, hey, yeah, this student is thinking hard about the root of the issues, and well, this might not be really an agreeable answer, but it shows that the student has been critically thinking about the issue. And okay, I'm going to count that as a fantastic evaluation. Let's give that a go. Okay, right. So next. Evaluation is not something that comes like naturally. It requires you to get the first three things today right. It's all the three things that we talked about today: conceptual understanding, exposure and range, and then skills. You get all these three things right. You master these three things ready. Then your last thing that you need to tackle is writing evaluations. Is to write the very, very bloody good evaluations that are gonna get you your marks. Okay, push your B to an A. Okay, so right, so you can see here, right? I use this to help you understand. If you don't get an A, then something is missing. You got 4 parts. Conceptual understanding is just the very beginning, and a lot of students fixate too much on the conceptual understanding part. If you find that you've been spending the bulk of your time revising your notes, right, you are stuck. You are stuck at being a D student. And if you continue that way and focusing on the wrong things, you will forever be a D student. So it's like, wow, I don't want to be a D student already anymore. How can or not? Then you got to go and work on the other things. And I've already given you the solutions to the other things. What to do to do with your skills, what to do with your exposure and range, and how to deal with your evaluation. Okay? Now, what can you do from now all the way until A levels? Okay, for conceptual understanding, okay, you can develop a plan. Remember just now I said what did I say? You go to the SEAB website, you download the entire curriculum, you come up with a checklist. I have an app that you can use. I just found this app. It's called Microsoft To Do. Microsoft To Do, TO-DO. You can try using this app lah. I don't know whether this works for you. You can find better apps out there. Don't spend too much time. Spend maybe an hour today going to find an app that works for you. Come up with a checklist. Okay, key in all these things into an app. Okay, and then start revising. Or you can use some note-taking app lah if you want. Okay. For us, our ETG students, we have done a nice one for you already. So we will be sending to you by hard copy in the next 2 weeks. It looks something like that. Okay, we have printed out Sui for you already. How this thing works is this. So the very first week we expect you to start your revision is the week of 29 June. 29 June is a Monday. So we expect you to start your revision properly on 29 June. Then this is what happens during tuition. So this is the tuition program for the week. Okay, nothing much for you to do. Is for me to actually tell you what to do during the lessons. These are the things. This is the checklist from the curriculum. These are the things. So I already segregated these things for you already. If you are an ETG student, you will be receiving this in the next 2 weeks by mail. Okay, through postal mail, you'll get this. So this is like a checklist. So you go and study these things. And remember just now what I said. Are you able to explain to a friend? Are you able to write it down in theory? Okay, tick, 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 tick. Then for exposure and range, okay, we have a homework program here. Homework program means, okay, this is a J1 one. Sorry, I should have put in a J2 one. I have one for J1 and for J2. This is the J1 revision plan. For J2 is 18 weeks to the A levels, and you will be doing A level papers and partial prelim papers instead. Okay, so the papers, we will tell you where to find them. Of course, if it's TYS, go and buy a copy of TYS. If it's past exam papers, you can go kiasuexampapers.com. Right, so we basically come up with a revision plan for you if you are our students. If you're not our student, you can come up with a revision plan on your own. I think that's okay, that's fine as well. Okay, now if you have been lazing for the last 2 years, or you haven't been paying attention in class in the last 2 years, or you haven't been our student in the last 2 years, so you find that your grounding in concepts have been very weak, you can join our crash courses. Okay, we have micro crash course and macro crash course where we cover everything micro in 1 day, everything macro in 1 day. Okay, this happens in July. It will be done through live stream. Okay, we don't encourage you to go for physical classroom lessons because number one, it's more expensive. Number two, we don't know whether we can resume class by then. Okay, it's during the midterm break. I think 20, 21st, 22nd, 24th July that week. Alright, so you can go for the macro crash course if you find that you want to cover everything in 1 day because the concepts are quite weak. You can do that with us. Okay, and for exposure and range, right? This is something that I really taught you just now. I really went through you just now. 50 full essays from now to the A levels. Go for a range of essay questions across different topics, across different prelim papers. Go with good easy questions and terribly difficult questions. Go with your top schools and also do some questions from neighborhood schools. Do your A-level papers as well. Do a wide range of topics. Make sure that everything is covered. Then for the case studies, I will expect that every single case study in the TYS you have completed. The reason why is because for case study, you are more training of the skills and the conceptual understanding than expecting the actual case study will come out. Obviously, the same case study will not come out anymore, but the same skills will be tested over and over again. So it's okay to do case study TYS one. Okay, so exposure and range. Now, if you don't have the discipline, means number one, you're damn lazy. Number two, you lack support. Lack support means you got nobody to talk to. You got no good friends, or your friends, their econs also suck. Okay, or you find that your resources cannot make it. Okay, then you can ask for help. Right, we have 2 boot camps. July boot camp will cover 10 essays in 1 day, and October boot camp we are covering 24 essays in 1 day. Right, if you look at 10 plus 24, that's 34. 34 is like more essays you have done in the whole 2 years of your econs life. Okay, right, so you can attend our boot camps. How the boot camps work is that we will give you a number of the questions to do as homework 2 weeks before your boot camp. We will send the questions to you by post. Alright, and you will do a small number as homework for the essay boot camp. Then you will do about 6 on the day itself. Okay, you will do 6 questions on the day itself. This one, all 24 will be done in point form on that day itself. Then this one you will do 6 on its own. So this one you will really have done 10 by the time of by the end of the bootcamp. You will really have completed 10. So this is quite good to attend. Okay. right? If you want to force yourself to revise and there's no one to help to force you to revise and there's no one to review your work, you can do that. Case study bootcamp, one in July as well. We'll cover 8 case studies in one day. That will be more than what you will probably have done this year already. 8 case studies in one day. If you find that is insufficient, you can go for another one in October. 16 case studies in one day. These 8 and 16, they are completely different questions. These 10 and 24, they are also completely different. 24, they are completely different questions. The idea is to give you the exposure and the range that I was telling you about just now. We don't come up with programs like for fun. We think of the issues that students face, and then all our programs are targeted at the issues that students face. Okay, so the July one will be during the term break, and you can do it online. You can do it from the comfort of your home, and it will be through live stream lah. Basically, you will send all the materials to your home before the lessons begin. Okay, skills, right? Start learning how to write in a coherent and structured fashion. This one, it's not that I don't want to teach you today. It's just that I really can't teach you today. We are actually teaching this every week. Every single one of our lessons, when we go through essays, we are going through case studies for our students every week. We're actually covering this. We are covering this to some extent, but we're covering different parts. Okay, so if you want a consolidated one, you can attend our boosters program. Boosters program are instant, means the lessons are already there. You just go and watch. You just go and download the resources, go and watch the video recorded lessons. They are not live streamed. The boosters is a series of 7 lessons plus 1 time trial for both essays and case study. So it's like every single lesson is covering a different skill. So there's a total of 14 lessons covering all the skills you need to learn for essay writing and case studies. If you're an ETG student, the prices are very cheap. One lesson, the price is like what, maybe $10. For external students, one lesson, the price is about $20. So this is a very value for money package. But that's also because we have economies of scale. Because this is really done, okay, it's really uploaded. That's why we have economies of scale. That's why we're able to offer this at very low price. Okay, so right, if you have been doing well and you are following our weekly homework program, I think you should be fine. That means if every week you have been uploading assignments for us to grade, okay, I think you're fine. Okay, but anyway, if you feel that you're still very weak, I think this is very cheap, such that it's a no-brainer to attend this lah. Alright. Now, evaluations can only really come after you master the first 3, and I'm really doubtful that I'm saying that 95% or maybe even 98% of students today, they shouldn't be focused on evaluation yet. They should focus on the first 3 things first. That's not saying you shouldn't do anything for evaluations. Okay, how to okay, I'll just briefly tell you about how you can learn evaluations well. Number 1, okay, you can go and read if you have access to the Cambridge examiners reports. Okay, I don't know how to tell you where to find them. You have to be resourceful and find them yourself. Okay, if you have access to the Cambridge examiners report, go and read them. They will give you a good sensing about what evaluations are like. Okay, 2, if you have got the model essays that your friends, you know, if your friend in class, the teacher always show their essays one, you take the essays, go and read, and then ask yourself this question: what makes the evaluation so damn good for that specific question? Okay, those are the 2 things you need to do. And of course, the 3rd thing is to actually read the news. Okay, it sounds like them unrelated, but reading the news is very important. Reading the news helps you to make sense of the concepts that you have learned and try to apply them in reality, which is largely what evaluations are mostly about. Okay, so of course, like I said, there is always a paid method to learn things. There is the tough method, and then there's the easy method. The easy method is to pay to learn it. Now, this Econs Essence Workshop, our own students will be attending. This is auto-subscribed for our own students, so our own students don't need to bother. You will be attending this for sure. Every year, actually, we book the Woodlands Regional Library Auditorium, and we have a seating capacity of 250 every year. This is the first year that we're not going to be there. Right, we're not going to book an auditorium to do it. Very first year, of course, because of COVID-19, there's no way you can have 250 people in the same place anymore, which is very strange for me. So we're holding this online. I'm going to cover 20 essay questions. The bulk of these 20 essay questions are going to be from this year's prelim papers itself. This year's means you haven't even set for it. I don't know the questions yet. Yeah, pretty much what will happen is that from the moment you get back your exam papers, I have 1 week to digest every single school's exam papers, digest the questions, and come up with my own answers to it. Analyze what are the questions that are most likely to come up for this year's A levels. I'm going to do predictive analysis for this year's A levels. Okay, and I will write the essay for these questions. I'll teach you how to do these essays, and most importantly, for every single essay question, I promise you a powerful evaluation. Yeah, I promise you a powerful evaluation. So you will see good evaluation, strong evaluation for 20 essay questions. Okay, and I will go through how to write structured essays as well. So this is for the Econs Essence workshop. Alright, or you can just, through our weekly classes, is a bit, the weekly classes, we actually teach everything. So when you attend every single week's lesson, it's a bit like osmosis. You're like absorbing all these things. Then over time, you should be able to write good quality evaluations. It's not immediate. It happens over time. Okay? Right, so if you are here and you're not our current student, let me share with you a little bit about our program. Okay, number one, you can have a look at our resources, our quality resources. If you are our student, I've just sent this out to you guys. This is your textbook for term 3. So this is your textbook for term 3. We just send it out. So for those of you who are here because friends recommend you to be here, right? Over here we don't print notes, okay, or send notes to students. We print a textbook. This is the J1 textbook for term 3. Okay, and then this is our J2 textbook for term 3. So everything is inside. Okay, so it's all consolidated. So our resources are definitely of good quality. In phase 2, right, we will expect to resume physical lessons, but if you want to stay online, that is always an option. Actually, we have been online since 2018. We have been doing live stream lessons since 2018. And you can always seek me for consultations. You can book our consultations. Typical consultations, they currently are Wednesdays. When physical lessons resume, it will be Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, basically, our program is adjusted in a way to ensure that you really have everything you need to succeed. Okay, right, so for the external students, if you're interested in our crash courses that I'm talking about just now, is a very simple URL, tuitiongenius.com/crash courses. Okay, if you are a current student, then you already know all this stuff, so I'm not gonna spend too much time going through more things. Okay, I'm gonna stop here, just I think right on time. I'm gonna stop here, and if you have any questions, of course, you're welcome to stay behind. You're welcome to stay behind and ask any questions that you may have. Okay, where is Keith here? Keith, you can send them the package, the 12 student package that they have been working about with all the information that is available for them to read up at their own time and convenience. Okay, for the students who are not my students yet. Okay, for the rest of you, if you have questions to ask, like your general questions about studying, like you feel like, wow, I'm very lost, my revision is not on par, like I feel that I need more help, you can stay behind, you can ask me questions. I'm here to answer your questions before I go for my daily jog. Right, I'm not properly dressed today because I'm actually intending to go jogging right after today's lesson, so sorry for not wearing properly. Okay, so anyway, yes, any questions? I'm going to stop the recording here so that you don't have to worry whether you're being recorded or not. You can just don't be shy and ask questions. I'm going to stop the recording. Okay. Yep, the recording is stopped already. So you can feel free to ask questions, don't need to feel shy.